Chapter 1066, Mutually Damaged. The rich smell of blood filled the gorgeous sky as the fierce battle was getting intense with the glint and flash of cold steel weapons. Seething killing aura was emitting out of Tang Xiu as he felt the surge of his own power. However, even those at the same cultivation level couldn't help shivering a little due to his physique that contained far greater strength than them. What minor abilities, but interesting nonetheless. Tang Xiu let out wild laughter. His body was as if turning into a whirlwind that charged toward the nascent soul stage demonic beast. With the forming of the lightning sea, the demonic beast let out anguished screams, while the divine sword sent out a 100 meters long sword light that accurately crushed it down. Blood splattered everywhere as the strikes kept bombarding its figure from hundreds of meters away. Roar. Ak. Guah. The 10 golden core demonic beasts went into a frenzy. They only had one mission this time, and that was to kill powerful human beings, which was exactly Tang Xiu who had killed many of their kind. However, even their hiding commander was blown hard, making them extremely furious. Resorting to their nearly suicidal charge, they instantly appeared near Tang Xiu. Taking advantage of their high-speed impact, they used their sharp claws and fangs to attack Tang Xiu without hesitation. You're courting death. Tang Xiu unleashed the lightning evoker art once again. A lightning bolt bombardment came down again, while his divine sword also unleashed sword energy that nearly swept them away. The strikes swept over to dismember and kill. With confidence, Tang Xiu kept fighting with the late-stage, nascent-souled demonic beast. He successfully killed the 10 golden core stage demonic beasts in just a few breaths and instantly stored their remains inside his interspatial ring. No one saw his action when he took their remains away, since his right hand moved lightning fast to pierce their corpses, and then grabbed their fist-sized demon cores. The divine sword's might was very powerful, yet the power it consumed was equally enormous. The battle was still ongoing and waiting for him, so he must restore his consumed power as soon as possible. Puff, puff, puff. A bird species demonic beast that was attacked by Tang Xiu and the Tang sect disciples went into a frenzy. What made Tang Xiu furious was that 2 disciples of his sect were hit by several other demonic beasts since they couldn't escape, and then fell to the ground. He saw that those 2 mid-stage Foundation establishment disciples had died before their bodies even fell to the ground. On the ground, Bai Yuhang was also fighting demonic beasts separately. This was his first time facing demonic beasts. Although he was informed in advance that these beasts were very strong, he never dreamed that they would be this powerful. Some of them were even stronger than him, and he would have died several times already if it wasn't for the 2 experts of the Bai clan always protecting him. From which hell these fucking abominable demons come from? Bai Yuhang kept brandishing his long sword and slashed the demonic beast that was slightly weaker than him before retreating. He could clearly see that Tang Xiu had successfully killed 10 demonic beasts in just a few breaths. He also saw him rushing again towards another demonic beast after a brief stop. Damn it. How can that bastard be so powerful? His heart became cold. Envy, jealousy, and hatred filled his whole being. He had always been pampered since his birth, so he didn't take Tang Xiu seriously before. Not only did he go so far as to provoke him, but he had also made a bet with him. However, after seeing Tang Xiu's methods in the battle and witnessing the speed of his men in killing demonic beasts, he just knew that he had completely lost, big time. I can't just admit it so easily. That fucking bastard will perhaps die in the hands of demonic beasts in the next moment. Shuiyu is mine. It's impossible that I, Bai Yuhang, will lose to someone in this life. Deep unwillingness overflowed in his eyes. But the moment he was in a daze, 2 demonic beasts roared and dashed to the left behind his back, launching a fierce attack on him. The strikes would kill him instantly if they were to land. Young master. A white-haired old man fell back after arduously forcing back a demonic beast with his slash. His face was full of determination as he dashed behind Bai Yuhang and instantly blocked the attacks, using his left arm and exerting his power to push him out of danger. Puff. The white-haired old man's back was pierced by a sharp claw, an inborn feature of praying mantis-like demonic beasts. If it wasn't for this white-haired old man moving fast and pushing Bai Yuheng away, its claw would have pierced the old man's chest and Bai Yuheng's body. Elder Zhua. His complexion turning ghastly pale, Bai Yuheng's eyes were filled with disbelief. It never occurred to him that his momentary daze would cause his most respected elder to die for the sake of saving him. The white-haired old man's body fell to the ground. Although he could sense that his life force was rapidly leaving his body, he still concentrated all his power on his right arm and swung upwards. Another demonic beast that was diving down at him was pierced by his blade on its abdomen, leaving a 10 centimeters bleeding wound on it. Young master, live, survive. His voice faded away and his raised arm also loudly dropped onto the ground as his last breath left his body. The battle was so fierce that both sides suffered great losses. Even Tang Xiu, whose power was comparable to the late stage of nascent soul, had been injured in the fight. Although it was only a minor injury, his complexion looked extremely ugly. Just at this instant, the Tang sect had lost 4 people, with 6 others gravely injured and having lost their combat power and none of the rest free from injuries. As the battle ended, the remaining less than 600 demonic beasts fled back to the wilderness into the depths of the Himalayas. Tang Xiu was standing in front of the blockade line. Then, he turned to Mo, who was rushing towards him fast. "You've broken through?" Wiping off the bloodstains on his face, Mo nodded. "I just broke through and now I'm at the early stage of Golden Core. But I need to stabilize my cultivation, Sect Master." Tang Xiu nodded without a word. His eyes landed on the dead bodies of 4 Tang sect disciples. Then, he went to them to collect their souls. He didn't wish to let them enter the reincarnation cycle and reincarnate again later as they died in battle. Every disciple whose life and death went alongside Tang sect would become a spirit of the Tang sect even after their death. Whoosh! A figure moved lightning fast from the distance and appeared in front of Tang Xiu in the blink of an eye. It was Daoist Zixuan who looked a bit grieving. "Daoist Tang, could you help to collect the souls of the whole unitary sect's disciples who died in this battle?" "How many of your sect's people died in this battle?" asked Tang Xiu. 6, answered Daoist Zixuan with a bitter face. Tang Xiu sighed inwardly. Then, he nodded and said, "Since you have decided, then I'll help you. However, you must think clearly. The cost of reviving them in the future would be great. Some of you must break through to become an immortal and become a powerhouse in the immortal world later." "Do you have any secret art that allows me to communicate with them?" asked Daoist Zixuan. "I do. But it's quite expensive." Tang Xiu nodded. "I'm willing to pay no matter how big the price is," Daoist Zixuan replied in a deep voice. Tang Xiu then taught her the spirit communication art and said, "I give this magical secret art first to your whole unitary sect. You can use cultivation resources to pay for it later." "All right." Daoist Zixuan repeatedly nodded with a grateful look. Shortly after, Tang Xiu collected the souls of the whole unitary sect's disciples and handed them over to Daoist Zixuan. Then, he ordered the Tang sect disciples to collect the remains of the demonic beasts and return to the camp. The Tang sect's losses in this big battle were not small, so he needed to hurry and help the other disciples to heal. On the next day, Duanmu Lin visited their campsite. Among those who came with him was Bai Yuheng, who wore an unwilling face. Tens of Bai clan members suffered heavy injuries in the previous battle, and more than 10 died, while the rest of them were also injured. "It's your win, Tang Xiu." Bai Yuheng braced himself to speak despite wearing an ugly complexion. Tang Xiu just shot him an apathetic look and lightly said, "You still remember the bet between us?" A scowl appeared on Bai Yuheng's face and he said in a heavy voice, "Behave yourself, Tang Xiu. I'll see you again later." And if you really want to go to extremes, then we can only become enemies in the future. Duanmu Lin hesitated a little, yet he still spoke. Tang Xiu, about this issue, you see. Tang Xiu was silent for a few seconds, then apathetically said, looking at the account of the heavy losses your Bai clan suffer after fighting demonic beasts, I won't bother with you anymore. But keep in mind. Do not mess with me nor pester me and shui you ever again in the future. I won't guarantee I'll regard your Bai clan just like these demonic beasts someday. Bai Yuhang was shivering inside. He recalled the frenzied slaughter Tang Xiu carried out in all 4 directions in the battle yesterday. It was a horrifying scene where he turned into a god of war. Despite his reluctance, he nodded with a gloomy face and turned around to leave. Duanmu Lin watched his back and then shot a grateful look at Tang Xiu. Then, he let out a forced, wry smile and said, thanks, Tang Xiu. The Bai clan has exerted a big effort and strength for the sake of the country, after all. This Bai Yuhang has an appalling character, but his clansmen are still very heroic. Tang Xiu shook his head and said, rest assured, Senior Duanmu. I won't bother with him before we've completely exterminated the demonic beasts. But that is on the premise he doesn't provoke me. Hey, the Bai clan is indeed a prominent big clan, and they are usually secluded from the secular world with their simple and pure folk customs. Duanmu Lin sighed. It's really unfortunate for this clan to have such a young master. He's been pampered since birth, thus developing his arrogance. Yet this time, the Bai clan's patriarch even sent him to lead their team. I just don't know whether it'll be a disaster or a blessing. It's not like I can manage this issue either. But it's fine as long as he doesn't provoke me. Tang Xiu shook his head and said, anyways, what about the materials for laying out the array, Senior Duanmu? Haven't you sent your men to collect them? How many of the materials have been prepared? If it's possible, I want to quickly lay out some arrays first. Duanmu Lin hesitated for a moment before replying, we only managed to get a few as of now. The time is too short. Although some of the materials are now being transported, I'm afraid it will take a few days before all of them can be shipped over. Then I'll use however many you've prepared, said Tang Xiu. We wouldn't have lost so many cultivators in yesterday's battle if we had arranged the array. Furthermore, I got a bad premonition through yesterday's battle. A bad hunch? What did you find, exactly? Asked Duanmu Lin hurriedly. Chapter 1067, The Approaching Crisis. Tang Xiu frowned and explained, I got a hunch from yesterday's battle that these demonic beasts had some other goal for attacking the blockade line. And their purpose was to kill me. At his explanation, Duanmu Lin stared dully and said in disbelief, you said they want to kill you, so they launched yesterday's attack? Yeah, it's a possibility I can't brush off. Tang Xiu nodded. I observed the ground battle very clearly. The strongest among those demonic beasts were at the Golden Core stage, but the number of flying demonic beasts was only 400, with 10 of them at the Golden Core stage. However, when I fought the 10 of them, there was a particular flying demonic beast in hiding that suddenly attacked me, and its strength was on par with cultivators at the nascent soul stage. What? Duanmu Lin exclaimed in alarm. A demonic beast comparable to a nascent soul stage expert appeared? Was it because of that super demonic beast whose strength is more formidable than a nascent soul stage expert? That's right. Tang Xiu nodded. When my cultivation broke through, that particular super demonic beast appeared in the blockade line. I could sense from its aura that it was not a demonic beast with the power at the nascent soul stage. If my guess is correct, its strength may have reached the spirit formation stage. Spirit formation stage? Disbelief fully covered Duanmu Lin's face. His heart fell to the bottom the longer Tang Xiu expressed his speculation. It must be noted that the most powerful cultivator in this place was Tang Xiu. Yet his strength was only comparable to the early stage of nascent soul. In case that particular super demonic beast at the spirit formation stage attack us, how can we fight back? Coupled with thousands of other demonic beasts, let alone the current defensive line, the horde of demonic beasts will easily breach it, and their onslaught will definitely slaughter all the cultivators here. Once it happened, it would be the end of mankind. Duanmu Lin and a large number of experts from the Special Abilities Bureau, as well as other experts from China, had speculated that even if the strongest demonic beast was at the nascent soul stage, even modern weapons would find it difficult to kill them. Not even the missiles would be enough. Yet, there was still one at the spirit formation stage. All these speculations made Duanmu Lin's heart like dead ashes. He was crystal clear that it would be impossible to kill a demonic beast at spirit formation stage unless they used a nuke. Even if they did resort to a nuclear bomb, the odds of killing it wouldn't be over 80%. In other words, there was still a 20% probability that it would fail. Does heaven want us to perish? Duanmu Lin's lips squirmed. He looked tens of years older. After noticing the changes in Duanmu Lin's aura, Tang Xiu immediately said, "Senior Duanmu, I may have speculated that there should be some super demonic beasts comparable to spirit formation stage experts. But it's not like we don't have any hope left. I still have some cards that can ensure the safety of mankind. But I'll definitely be impacted after using it." Duanmu Lin's face drastically changed. He couldn't care less about Tang Xiu's losses, so he hurriedly asked, "What card?" "Tell me, Tang Xiu. What kind of cards do you have?" "It's the last resort. I won't use them unless the situation spells otherwise." Tang Xiu forced a wry smile and said, "Besides, it's not like I have no other means to exterminate that spirit formation stage demonic beast. There's still a hope to kill that super demonic beast without even using your trump card," asked Duanmu Lin hastily. "Tang Xiu, quickly tell me, what is this method? I'm waiting for someone. If she can arrive on time, maybe I won't need to use my trump card." Tang Xiu lightly smiled and said, "Senior Duanmu, please don't ask anymore. What you must do is deploy manpower and figure out when those demonic beasts will launch another attack." "This, all right." Duanmu Lin suppressed his confusion and left. Regardless of everything, it could be said Tang Xiu had given him a reassuring countermeasure. He didn't worry about the result as he believed that Tang Xiu wouldn't make fun of his own life. 1 week passed by and there was no movement of demonic beasts whatsoever. It was like they turned quiet and none appeared in the blockade line. Even the surveillance devices placed in the depths of the Himalayas could only occasionally spot several demonic beasts, before they quickly disappeared. However, such a situation made everyone realize that this must be the calmness before the storm. The next onslaught of those demonic beasts would very likely be overwhelming. Tang Xiu himself didn't stay idle this week. He spent his time cultivating to improve his own strength as well as teaching some secret arts to some disciples of the Tang sect, so they could master them quickly. At the same time, he also spent 2 days to arrange a large geomancy array that stretched out for 6+ kilometers along the blockade line. The array would trap any demonic beasts, whether they attacked from the eastern, western, or even the mid-front. Behind the mid-front of the blockade line, Tang Xiu wore a serious face as he spoke. "You must remember that you're responsible to preside over the array. Meaning you will be stimulating the entire power this geomancy array can unleash. Unless we're in a very dire situation that forces us to activate this last resort, you're not to leave the eye of this array. If you want to survive and live longer, then use this geomancy array to kill those demonic beasts. The more demonic beasts you kill using this array, the higher the chance for you to survive. I will also control a much bigger and powerful array. But once the array under your control is compromised, I'll take it over from you immediately. I hope that you all won't let me down, so don't disappoint all the cultivator allies on the blockade line." Having said that, Tang Xiu finally stopped his speech. 8 cultivators at Golden Core stage aided by 6 more at the late stage of Foundation establishment. These 14 people were crossing their hands behind their backs, standing firmly with a resolute and determined look, replying aloud, "We'll never disappoint Sect Master Tang and everyone else." Tang Shou slowly nodded and said with satisfaction, "Your names may be recorded in the annals of history later and perhaps will be remembered in the future. You also may only be remembered by those in the cultivation world, and nobody else will know who we are after we leave. However, you will be heroes. This is a fact that no one can change. I, Tang Xiu, am looking forward to fighting alongside you all. Let's fight side by side," shouted the 14 people loudly. These cultivators hailed from some Taoist and Buddhist schools, and some were martial artists who had entered the cultivation path. What they had in common was that they had been deeply influenced by Tang Xiu. They not only had deep admiration towards him but also developed similar warrior-like bearing and attitude like Tang Xiu. Time fleeted by and another 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. Inside the military tent, Tang Xiu was sitting cross-legged while silently communicating with the stars in the universe. He constantly absorbed the astral power from the universe that transformed it into his own strength to use. At the same time, he also spent 108 demon cores to arrange the spiritual energy gathering array. After devouring all the demonic force contained within the demon cores, the array itself automatically dispersed. The heavenly art of cosmic genesis really deserves to be called the best cultivation art ever created by the demons and gods, with its incredibly fast cultivation speed. It didn't take long cultivating here, did it? Yet my power has rapidly increased, at least twice stronger. I think I can also kill experts at the late stage of nascent soul now. If I was to encounter powerful enemies at the spirit formation stage, I might even able to fight them, albeit barely. But still, it's difficult to say whether I'll be defeated or not. Tang Xiu floated up and set out. Just as he left the tent, he saw Shui Sha and He Xiong, who were standing straight and waiting for him outside. There were also a lot of Tang sect disciples in the surrounding with envious look cast on their faces. "You guys." Just as Tang Xiu spoke, he immediately sensed the aura released by the two men. A satisfied smile suddenly appeared on his handsome face as he nodded and smilingly said, "Very good. You both are great. I didn't expect you to be the second and third disciples who advanced to the Golden Core stage. I now announce that you are promoted to Guardian Elders of the Tang sect. You can go to Immortal later to claim your rewards. He will hand them over to you." Shui Sha and He Xiong exchanged glances. Although they already knew that they would become Tang sect's Guardian Elders and also obtain handsome rewards, hearing the direct confirmation from Sect Master Tang Xiu himself made them really excited. "Sect Master." Mo floated from afar and respectfully greeted as he came to Tang Xiu's front. "Give them their rewards and celebrate their advancement into the Golden Core stage. Furthermore, they will be the elders of Tang sect later. 4 of you are the first to break through, so you all are now the elders and will need to discuss more issues in the future." "Understood." Mo smiled and nodded to Shui Sha and He Xiong. Then, his eyes went back to Tang Xiu again, saying, "Sovereign, I just received news that Qi Nan and Kawako Yamamoto have also broken through to the Golden Core stage." Tang Xiu stared dully. He wasn't surprised by the news that Qi Nan had broken through to the Golden Core stage, but how come Kawako's cultivation speed was so fast? Originally, he accepted her as his subordinate in order to carry out his plan in Japan, which was to take some forces there under his control in the future. It was all to plunder some resources he needed from Japan, but now it seemed that he must no longer treat her as an outsider. With such a cultivation speed, as long as she worked harder later, she could also become his right arm. Contact Chinan, Kawako, Guang, and tell them to head over here at once. It's very likely the following days will become our final showdown here. Our odds of survival will increase if all of them come, and we can also reduce the casualties of our other disciples. What about Jing? Sure. Would you like him to come back too? Asked Mo hurriedly. Has Jing sure advanced to the Golden Core stage yet? Asked Tang Xiu. I haven't heard any news about that yet. Mo shook his head. Tang Xiu sighed inwardly. He recalled that Jing sure had long been following him. He also occasionally gave him private tutoring and even rewarded him with many cultivation resources. Jing sure should have been listed as the first 6 who broke through to the Golden Core stage. It was rather unexpected that he eventually let him down. Don't inform him first. He's carrying out a mission now. Mo nodded wordlessly. Then, he said, then, I'll convey your message to the rest immediately. Chapter 1068, Arrogance. Deep in the Himalayas was a huge space carved in the interior of a towering snow-capped mountain. A karst grotto appeared in the underground space after it had undergone a transformation by a secret art. A river of magma flowed through the cave, causing the temperature of this place to be extremely high as though inside a heated furnace. Ho! Ho! In the midst of the lava river that radiated the high temperature, a huge demonic beast with a blood-red physique suddenly rose. It looked like a toad, only magnified 100 times. However, it had 4 tens of meters long tentacles on its gills that constantly beat the surface of the magma river, causing liquid magma to splash. Archfiend Rupture. Savage killing intent filled the giant demonic beast's eyes that seemed like a huge grinding disc. Its eyes swept over and, as its voice was heard, the building-sized super demonic beast flickered from the outside and moved lightning fast to the interior. In just the blink of an eye, it was already in front of the toad demonic beast. Oh, the great blood-fiend monarch, you finally woke up from your slumber. As you will it, the elites of our demonic beast army have probed the humans in this world again and again, and they found there are some very powerful humans among them. Regardless, I have the confidence to destroy those humans and occupy this planet for you. The toad-shaped blood-fiend monarch spouted out some magma before it shook its head and said, the heavenly Tao of this world is very powerful. Our strength is suppressed now and we can only use 1,000th of our power. Hence, we must first investigate and figure out this world, to find out whether there are existences like immortals, demon kings, and other powerhouses. If this world does have such existences, we must immediately leave this place to somewhere else to find another shelter. If not, we'll begin our slaughter here. The super demonic beast called Archfiend Rupture heavily nodded. Almost without hesitation, it let out a roar and left. Within just half a day, nearly 100,000 demonic beasts quickly assembled from the entire interior of the Himalayas, occupying the grounds all over the mountains and plains. Loud and jubilating howls and roars greeted the awakening of their king. Ugly town. Sitting cross-legged inside the military tent in cultivation, Tang Xiu suddenly heard the roars and howls of countless demonic beasts. His complexion instantly changed drastically since he could determine that the number of roaring demonic beasts was not as few as 10,000, but definitely more than 50,000. Whoosh! 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 Shadows and figures moved lightning fast as they quickly appeared at the blockade line. All human cultivators were looking at the depths of the Himalayas in the north. Although they couldn't see any traces of demonic beasts, they could clearly hear the roars that caused slight tremors to the earth. Tang Xiu. Duanmu Lin appeared next to Tang Xiu with eyes filled with deep worries and restlessness. The old saying is true that we can only be victorious in any battle if we know ourselves and our enemies. Tang Xiu forced a smile and said, we're now unsure about the number of the demonic beasts as well as their overall strength. I'm afraid it would be a tall order to win the next battle. Senior Duanmu, are the rest of the cultivation forces you've invited already here? 2 cultivation forces haven't arrived yet. Duanmu Lin shook his head and said, but the rest of them are already here. The Special Abilities Bureau's people have counted the number of cultivators who have arrived here. We have more than 2,000 people now. However, we seem to have a lot of people, but the number of demonic beasts far surpasses ours. The weakest among demonic beasts are comparable to experts at the foundation establishment stage, but less than half of the cultivators here at the same realm. Tang Shou sighed inwardly. Duanmu Lin was simply stating the truth. In this kind of peace and prosperity era, there were only a very few people who walked on the cultivation path, and the number was even fewer for those who made achievements and reached the foundation establishment stage. It seems we can only rely on the arrays, said Tang Shou helplessly. You told me that you still have a trump card, Tang Shou. What exactly is it? Asked Duanmu Lin. Please tell me now and let me feel at ease, will you? Tang Shou glanced at the direction of Nine Dragons Island and vaguely said, it will be coming soon. After half an hour when Tang Shou was still sitting cross-legged in cultivation, 4 formidable auras were transmitted from the direction of Ugly. In just a few breaths, 3 men and 1 woman appeared in the blockade line. Interesting. I never thought so many kids would come here. A young man donning a white robe and looking like a scholar seemed to talk casually, but his voice was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. An old man with a walking stick and with eyes and eyebrows that made him look kind and amiable replied, these fellow Chinese are not bad. They still step forward to help the country when it encounters a crisis. Anyhow, when was the last time we left our mountain? Was it more than 60 or 70 years ago? It's about 70 years ago, before the War of Resistance. The tall and stalwart middle-aged man, whose face was red and dressed in red from head to toe and held the demon-subduing stick, replied with a resonant voice. His voice was not particularly vigorous, yet it carried a particular prestige. The other, a middle-aged Taoist nun in Taoist hairdo and robe, smiled and lightly said, let's not talk about the past. This occasion is a chance and opportunity should all the benefactors be very powerful. It's a pity that Dao Master Poison's heart harbors evil intention then, so he has never been able to step up otherwise. We 5 would have been able to get along together. Dao Master Poison? Tang Shou's face, who was sitting cross-legged 10 meters away from the 4 people, slightly shifted. Taoist Zixuan floated out of the crowd and quickly appeared in front of the middle-aged Taoist nun. She saluted and respectfully greeted. Zixuan pays respect. Why did you come out, ancestress? I just received notice from these 3 old fogies that there are a lot of demonic beasts in the Himalayas, so I came out to take a look. The Taoist nun smilingly said, I've never seen the likes of demonic beasts, to be honest. But I read the records about them in the ancient historical record. Little Zixuan, tell me about the situation of these demonic beasts. Are they really powerful? What I know is, but a few compared to others pertaining to these demonic beasts, ancestress, replied Taoist Zixuan. How about I call out Taoist Tang? He may be able to answer your questions about them. Call him over then. The Taoist nun nodded. Whoosh. Tang Shou's figure flickered and appeared in front of the group instantly. He seriously observed the 4 people, let out a light smile and said, Tang Shou greets the 4 seniors. I've been worrying that there are too many powerful demonic beasts in this mountain range. We can feel at ease now since 4 nascent soul stage seniors have arrived here. The middle-aged Taoist nun was surprised and asked, You're that Tang Shou? I am, Tang Shou replied with a smile. The Taoist nun shifted her sight to Taoist Zixuan and inquired. I heard about your business deal too. How was it? What are the results? We actually didn't bring out a lot of cultivation resources, ancestress. But Taoist Tang still gave us the things as per his commitment, answered Taoist Zixuan hurriedly. The Taoist nun's face slightly shifted. She cast a deep look at Tang Shou and praised. You're truly an admirable junior. Our whole unitary sect will count this as a favor. But please rest assured, I'll order some people to collect some cultivation resources to be delivered to you later. Well, I'm not one to haggle over things, to begin with. But since Senior wants to give me some cultivation resources, then I'd like to give the whole unitary sect some presents as well. Tang Shou lightly smiled. The red-faced stalwart middle-aged man couldn't bear it anymore. He rolled his eyes and grunted. "Spare us from these trivial issues, shall we? Tang. Tang Xiu, right? Just tell us the situation with these demonic beasts. Can they match me, Shatong?"
Yeah.
The interior of the mountain range has at least tens of thousands of demonic beasts, and the weakest has the power at the early stage of foundation establishment. Tang Xiu nodded and explained, "However, I'm unsure about the strongest one. But after I've killed many demonic beasts, they once launched an attack especially to target me, with 10 golden core stage flying demonic beasts to cover the attempt of the assassination by another demonic beast, equal to a nascent soul stage expert. Fortunately, my reaction was fast enough and I had good luck, so I preserved my life. 10 golden core stage demonic beasts and another on par with a nascent soul stage expert?" All of them looked solemn upon hearing this. Although they were experts at the nascent soul stage, they didn't know what supernatural abilities these demonic beasts possessed. If what Tang Xiu said was true, then they would likely spend quite the energy just to fight them. Also, if my guess is correct, there are also some demonic beasts on par with experts at spirit formation stage, continued Tang Xiu. However, it hasn't come out yet, so I can't judge how powerful they are. What? Tang Xiu's words shocked the 4 people. There are demonic beasts on par with experts at spirit formation stage? If there's such a powerful demonic beast, even the 4 of them joining hands to fight it would only give them a 50% chance of winning, right? The old man asked with a solemn expression. Your conjecture is that there are some demonic beasts on par with experts at spirit formation stage? What is your cultivation level now? How can you estimate the strength of powerhouses at the nascent soul stage, more so those at the spirit formation stage? It's because my current power is not weaker than you all, seniors, said Tang Xiu calmly. That's nonsense. What arrogance. The burly man rolled his eyes and snappily said, You're so young. You must be just a little over 20, are you not? And you claim your strength is not weaker than ours? That's some joke you're spewing. I'm not sure which part of what I said is a joke, but I'm crystal clear about the strength of the person you previously mentioned, said Tang Xiu lightly. The burly man didn't want to bother with Tang Xiu anymore. But after he heard the last part, he asked without thinking, the person I mentioned, who is it? Dao Master Poison, said Tang Xiu lightly. The burly man's face instantly turned cold. Killing intent flashed in his eyes as he asked in a deep voice, Do you know Dao Master Poison? I do. Tang Xiu nodded and said, Not only do I know him, but I also fought with him once. Fuck off. The stalwart man felt that Tang Xiu was getting more and more outrageous and directly waved to drive him away. Chapter 1069, The Decisive Battle Arrives. In the eyes of the burly man, even if Daoist Master Poison had no straight and righteous heart and the chance of him advancing to the nascent soul stage was nil, he was still a powerful expert at the Golden Core stage. Yet this kid went so far as to brazenly brag without batting an eye. That was really disgusting. Guan Lu. The middle-aged Taoist nun slightly furrowed her brows and called out with dissatisfaction. Everyone, let's spare ourselves the nonsensical shit spit out by this brat and just rush straight into the depths of the mountain range. The burly man sneered. Even if there's a demonic beast on par with spirit formation stage experts, 4 of us can join hands to kill it. The young man in white nodded and agreed. Guan Lu is right. Tricks are futile in the face of absolute strength. Let's not waste time since we're going to hunt and kill demonic beasts, to begin with. After killing the powerful ones, we can give the minor ones to the rest of the people here. My thoughts exactly, echoed the amiable-looking old man. The middle-aged Taoist nun, however, slightly furrowed her brows and looked hesitant. She knew more about Tang Xiu and would rather believe his words. However, she also agreed with her 3 old friends since they were ready to enter the mountain range to hunt and kill the strongest demonic beasts. She felt that even if they were unable to kill the most powerful demonic beasts in the mountains, they would be fine since they were also able to escape. Ancestress, called out Taoist Zishuan hurriedly. You don't need to persuade me, little Zishuan. The Taoist nun waved and smilingly said, they want to go to the mountains directly to kill the strongest demonic beasts, so I naturally can't ignore them. Maybe the current crisis will be resolved faster by following them. Upon hearing it, Taoist Zishuan immediately looked helpless and said, then I'll speak no longer since you've made up your mind, Ancestress. But there's something I'd like you to have. Having said that, she handed the interspatial bracelet to the middle-aged Taoist nun. Stored inside was not only the cultivation manual traded from Tangxiu but also the immortal sword. As the Taoist nun received the interspatial bracelet, she released her perception to sense it and immediately found a divine sword. It shocked her inwardly since she could feel the terrifying aura exuding from it. Turbulence waves surged in her heart as it made her more confident in hunting the demonic beasts in the mountain range. Let's set off. The red-faced Guan Lu soared and flew towards the depths of the mountains. In just a few seconds, the newly arrived 4 nascent soul stage human experts had directly entered the depths of the Himalayas to start the hunt. Tang Xiu himself quickly nodded to Duanmu Lin and also gestured for Hao Lei and some others to follow them behind silently. With the current situation, every human expert was comrade in arms, and these 4 nascent soul stage experts were the strongest existences of humanity. If they were to fall in the Himalayas due to their arrogance, it was something that Tang Xiu couldn't accept. Deep in the Himalayas, savage demonic beasts had literally covered the snowy ground as the chilling wind howled, adding chill and terror to the suppressing aura of nearly 100,000 demonic beasts. 2 super demonic beasts the size of a building were slowly coming out of a wide grotto and the horde roared yet again. Silence. An afterimage flashed and Archfiend Rupture appeared in front of 2 huge demonic beasts. Its blood-red eyes swept underneath as it shouted while unleashing its savage aura. In but a flash, everything went deathly still and all the demonic beasts looked at Archfiend Rupture with fear, waiting for orders. Archfiend Rupture raised its head and roared a few times. Then, it spoke in demonic beast's language, our great king, Bloodfiend Monarch has finally woken up and we will soon occupy this planet. For thousands of years, we have been drifting and trapped in this forsaken small planet and damned iceberg. No way in hell will we be reconciled with this, and neither will our great Bloodfiend Monarch. Therefore, we will slaughter all the humans on this planet and occupy this place. Let us use this planet as a springboard to blaze our way back to the demon realm, to kill our enemies and reclaim our domains. Kill. 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 Nearly 100,000 demonic beasts roared and screamed. Under the leadership of Archfiend Rupture and 2 10-meter-high demonic beasts, all of them roared and dashed to the south. In midair, 4 nascent soul stage experts stopped moving and stood still, staring dumbly at the flying demonic beasts in front. They couldn't help but gasp with a chill running down their backs upon seeing the flying demonic beasts completely shrouding the sky. They could also sense the suppressing momentum and aura released by the horde of demonic beasts. Despite evaluating themselves as very powerful experts, it was a sight that shocked them to the core. Die, humans. The 2 10-meters-high demonic beasts flew forward and fiercely attacked the 4 nascent soul stage experts without hesitation. Archfiend Rupture didn't rush to attack and just watched the 4 humans calmly, yet the killing intent in its heart was seething. He was rather furious to see that these humans dared to enter the depths of the Himalayas. Bang. 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 Kill. The 2 huge demonic beasts fought fiercely with the 4 nascent soul stage experts, and the latter quickly fell into a disadvantage. Upon seeing this, Archfiend Rupture hesitated no longer. He howled and charged into the fray midair. Its movement was even faster than the 2 huge demonic beasts. A black vortex instantly appeared and a dark chain suddenly flew out from it. Bang. Bang. The youth in white was caught off guard and was slammed by the black chain on his chest and crazily coughed up a mouthful of blood. His body was like a broken kite as he flew backward. Even though the other three were able to avoid the danger, they still struggled against the sucking force from the black vortex, unable to rescue the youth in white.
Ha!
So fragile. Archfiend Rupture laughed wildly and howled. Joining hands with the other two demonic beasts, a crisis immediately loomed over the four nascent soul stage experts. Immortal Slayer Chain, kill. The black chain with the black vortex was the supernatural abilities possessed by Archfiend Rupture. Added with his own strength that was on par with spirit formation stage experts, he didn't give the youth in white any chance to escape. Dozen black chains were shot at him and tightly wrapped the youth in white, pulling him into the black vortex. Suddenly, a black figure bolted from the distance lightning fast and a 100-meter sword light was shot from a divine sword, smashing toward the black chain flying in the air. Violent energy blasted and formed a tornado that clashed with the black vortex that sucked the young man in white. Boom! The black chain shattered while the black vortex was disrupted by the tornado. It rapidly dissipated and finally disappeared. The young man in white was ghastly pale and escaped in distress. However, another black chain was shot again at his back. Break. Tang Xiu's aura surged and a brilliant light radiated from the divine sword. The flow of energy then wrapped the young man in white as Tang Xiu immediately pulled him back before turning and running back. What are you guys waiting for? Run quickly. At this moment, the Taoist nun, the amiable-looking old man, and the red-faced Guan Lu, who were just shocked by the sudden crisis, finally realized that they were simply no match for these demonic beasts at all. They turned around and quickly chased Tang Xiu's figure toward the outside of the mountain range. Hammer of Death. Death God Scythe. The other two demonic beasts with the strength of the late stage of the nascent soul stage unleashed their magic abilities at the same time. Even though the middle-aged Taoist nun, the old man, and Guan Lu were fleeing very fast, the giant hammer and black crescent sabers struck them heavy wounds. Quickly after, the five of them had fled to the blockade line. Tang Xiu then threw the nearly injured young man in white to Mo and shouted, "Prepare for battle. We got tons of demonic beasts coming, at least nearly 90,000 of them. Remember my instruction and immediately activate the arrays." 14 figures quickly rushed and activated the geomancy array and stood at its center. Guan Lu moved and appeared at the side of the young man in white. His expression was extremely ugly. At this moment, he had to admit that he was truly arrogant for suggesting to intrude into the depths of the mountain range proactively. That demonic beast truly had the power of the spirit formation stage. It was too powerful, while there were also two others who had nascent soul stage power. Just those three demonic beasts joining hands were not a force the four nascent soul stage experts could fight against. Now is not the time to blame yourself. Take out your weapon and prepare for battle. Today, we or those demonic beasts must perish. Tang Xiu appeared at Guan Li's side and growled. Guan Li raised his head to look at Tang Xiu's solemn face. Grief and indignation filled his heart since he looked down on Tang Xiu prior to this that he didn't even bother to give him due respect. He thought that Tang Xiu was just a brat who dared to brag in front of them. However, after having gone through the crisis just now, he realized that Tang Xiu was by no means weak. Be it his speed or explosive killing moves, they must have surpassed him. I apologize for the previous issue, Taoist Tang. Guan Li couldn't help but feel grateful to Tang Xiu. If it wasn't for his help at their direst moment before, his companion, the young man in white, would have died to those demonic beasts. No need to apologize. Tang Xiu shook his head and said, "If you feel guilty, just kill more demonic beasts. We mustn't harbor any more feelings of animosity, however. I have a bad premonition that we will face more dangerous things soon." Guan Li took a deep breath and floated up. Just as he was about to rush into the invisible array, Tang Xiu immediately blocked him. Don't rush to go into action. I've arranged an array in the surrounding. You can act and slaughter those demonic beasts after we kill as many as possible with these arrays. An array? Use an array to kill demonic beasts? Guanlu didn't understand about arrays, though he knew their might. Suddenly, the way he looked at Tang Xiu was completely different from before. Kill. The overwhelming horde of demonic beasts quickly rushed into the array in front of the blockade line. In that instant, the 14 cultivators with meager cultivation level who had learned to operate the array from Tang Xiu began to manipulate it to kill the rushing demonic beasts. Chapter 1070, Killing Demonic Beasts. The huge array arranged like a chain of rings acted as a meat grinder, killing the demonic beasts that constantly rushed into it. Tang Xiu himself turned as though a phantom that kept flickering and wandering inside the array, silently reaping the lives of demonic beasts. For the demonic beasts and enemy cultivators, the array was like the land of death. But it was like his own back garden to Tang Xiu. Roar. Hiss. Countless demonic beasts roared and frantically launched their onslaught on the array, causing chaotic turbulence to the 14 linked arrays. After half an hour of slaughter, Tang Xiu rushed out of the array with a wretched appearance, his clothes soaked with blood as though he was just fished out from a pool of blood. Tang Xiu. A lightning-fast shadow bolted from nearby, followed by the others who wore worried expressions and awe. Wiping off the blood on his face, Tang Xiu hurriedly asked, "Who are these people, Senior Duanmu?" Taking a deep breath, Duanmu Lin grabbed the communicator, pressed the green button, and shouted, "Killing squad warriors, enter the arrays now." Shortly after, a group of shadows bolted from the distance and rushed into the arrays in the blink of an eye. They were the 140 cultivators who were invited by Duanmu Lin by various means and then sent to Tang Xiu a week ago, to learn about the array's operation. Although they didn't have a thorough understanding of the arrays, they could remember the route and orientation within the formation to kill demonic beasts that entered it. The weakest among them was at the late stage of foundation establishment, while the strongest were experts at the golden core stage. Each group consisted of 10 people. They quickly took advantage of the array right after entering it. They were like petrol that was poured on the fire that burned and killed the demonic beasts inside the array. The 140 people could easily enter and retreat while attacking and defending at the same time. However, the number of demonic beasts was really too many that they were simply jam-packed inside the array. "We can't hold it anymore. Retreat quickly." A cultivator manipulating the array suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood and shouted. The remaining 6 cultivators who were still alive inside rushed out of the array with scars a few seconds after. They were panting heavily and hadn't had time to breathe more as the array was broken. Shortly after, the other arrays also followed suit. One of the cultivators who had escaped was badly battered and desperately dashed through the blockade line, looking a bit despaired. All of the remaining ones were seriously injured and must be treated promptly. They would only meet their deaths otherwise should they participate in the next battle. Tang Xiu, who had changed his clothes at this moment, crazily absorbed the demonic energy in the demon cores to supplement his energy consumption. Chilling light overflowing from his eyes upon seeing that the 14 arrays had been broken. His figure sword and the divine sword instantly swept away to crush a certain flying demonic beast. Demons and immortals slaughtering array. A deafening voice instantly spread into the sky. A thick blood fog was formed by the blood of the demonic beasts and humans, filling the area tens of kilometers around the blockade line, and ultimately created a boundless ocean of blood that killed all the demonic beasts inside. The demons and immortals slaughtering array covered a very large area and enveloped at least tens of thousands of demonic beasts. Crack. Boom. Violent thunderstorms were as though clapping down from the highest vault of heaven, making all the demonic beasts in the array howl. The sound seemed to be able to destroy the souls and control their minds. It was like it was the voice of Buddhas and demons, yet it brought extreme aggressiveness within. At the same time, lightning flashed down like a hurricane. Each lightning bolt was the size of an arm that severely wounded Golden Core stage demonic beasts, and killed those at the Foundation establishment stage. Ting, ting, ting. Suddenly, the magnetic sound of a zither drifted from outside of the demons and immortals' slaughtering array. In nearly an instant, the tens of thousands of demonic beasts inside the array felt like the world before them had changed. They seemed to see the place where they were born, seeing their hometown and smelling the aura of the soil in their demon realm. They could even hear the unique howling winds of their birthplace. Puff, puff, puff. Lightning flashed down like rain. Each and every demonic beast that died in the lightning rain died, yet they wore smiling faces as their bodies slowly fell down. The ground was littered by their corpses while blood created a scarlet river. In just half a minute, the tens of thousands of demonic beasts met their deaths by the lightning blasts. Roar. The building-sized demonic beast at the nascent soul stage noticed that something was amiss after rushing out of the demons and immortals' slaughtering array. It let out a furious roar as countless black scimitars appeared out of the blue and clashed with the blasting lightning bolts. Suddenly, the lightning bolts were blocked for a time and significantly slowed down the killings of demonic beasts. Ting, ting, ting. The syllable from the zither outside the array suddenly changed its tone. The notes now turned like a blasting storm, like the collision between iron horses. Suddenly, all the Foundation establishment demonic beasts in the demons and immortals slaughtering array lost their smiling faces to looks of pain. While controlling the demons and immortals slaughtering array to slay demonic beasts, Tang Xiu slightly furrowed his brows as he knew the person who just came from the moment the zither's play sounded. It's Han Qingwu. But she's also Shui Qingcheng. The feelings he had towards her were very complicated. Even after he knew that Han Qingwu was Shui Qingcheng, even though his heart was so much in pain and full of hatred towards her, he never had the heart to ruthlessly kill her. From that moment onward, he thought that it was the best choice to sever all ties with her. And yet, he never thought that she would fight alongside him to kill these demonic beasts at this moment. He could tell that Han Qingwu, no. Shui Qingcheng should have restored her power to the spirit formation stage from the notes played by her zither. At the blockade line, the eyes of thousands of cultivators were all trained on Han Qingwu, who was sitting on a floating bluestone. Watching as she sat cross-legged while playing her zither made them incomparably shocked. The zither's notes didn't affect them too much. But it was because Han Qingwu deliberately controlled it that the effects on them were negligible. Yet, it still made their countenance extremely solemn. Even the many cultivators who had weaker strength retreated over 100 meters staggeringly, while wiping off the cold sweat on their foreheads with lingering fear evident on their faces. The zither's notes they heard just now nearly pulled them into the mood state ordained by the syllables. They even secretly had a sensation that they would be severely injured and face the risk of death if they were pulled into the mood ordained by the zither. Who's she? The middle-aged nascent soul stage Taoist nun wore a disbelieving look, and so did the amiable-looking old man and the stalwart big man. All of their eyes were trained on Han Qingwu, refusing to take back their focus even if they wanted to. She was at the spirit formation stage. These three nascent soul stage experts were naturally able to sense the aura fluctuating from Han Qingwu. What shocked them was this young woman, who attacked the demonic beasts with zither notes, turned out to be an expert at the spirit formation stage. Given her age, she's unlikely to be some old fogey who has been cultivating for a century or more. If my guess is correct, she should be at her 20s, but it's too unbelievable and too shocking for her to reach the spirit formation stage in her 20s. True that. She's really only in her 20s. I'm sure of it. But what I really want to figure out is what kind of cultivation art she has been cultivating in, exactly. For one to reach the spirit formation stage in such a short time, doesn't it mean that it must be much more powerful than the ones cultivated by us, who have been cultivating for centuries? If it weren't for the threat of these demonic beasts at the present and the fact that she's much stronger than us, I would have robbed her of that particular cultivation art. But this lass is by no means ordinary. It's an understatement calling her simply terrifying. After the shock, the three people wore extremely complicated expressions as they watched Han Qingwu play her zither and exchanged whispers. Not far away from them, Duan Mulin was dumbfounded as he looked at Han Qingwu. He was simply unable to notice anything the moment she showed up. He didn't even know how she arrived here. How did she appear here? I dunno. She seemed to have just popped up out of nowhere. Aquababe shook her head. Shooting Han Qingwu a deep gaze, Duan Mulin's eyes then shifted to the demons and immortals slaughtering array in front. Although he couldn't see what was happening inside, he was sure that Tang Xiu was going all out to kill all the demonic beasts inside it at the moment. He also knew who Han Qingwu was. Back when he sent people to investigate Tang Xiu, there was also information about her. Therefore, while recalling how unfathomable and terrifying Tang Xiu was, he secretly analyzed that this young woman named Han Qingwu should have learned cultivation from Tang Xiu, which ultimately made her have such a powerful strength. Inside the demons and immortals slaughtering array, Tang Xiu's killing speed was getting faster and faster. Due to Han Qingwu's zither notes onslaught, the demonic beasts inside were getting weaker and losing their resistance, literally transforming the scene into a one-sided slaughter. The zither notes also affected those nascent soul stage demonic beasts, causing them to be unable to unleash their full power. Damn humans. Fuck this immortal music. Archfiend Rupture, with the other demonic beasts who had the power comparable to experts at the nascent soul stage, then appeared in the demons and immortal slaughtering array. They instantly cast their respective magical arts and finally blocked the lightning bolt's onslaught. This is making me furious, and my king is also very angry. You damn humans, you are killing my demon realm's clansmen. You must die and leave your soul into nothingness. Archfiend Rupture roared and howled. The other two nascent soul stage demonic beasts teamed up to unleash their own powers, causing chaotic turbulences to the demons and immortals slaughtering array and making it look like it would be broken at any time. Standing at the eye of the array, Tang Xiu's eyes were filled with coldness. The array constantly trembled as a ruthless look finally appeared on his face. He instantly pierced his own chest with the divine sword and forced out 10 drops of his blood essence. Blood ignition art. He made blurred gestures to cast a seal as a mysterious and profound aura kept soaring. The 10 drops of blood essence from his heart then formed into a complicated blood net that spread in all directions, before completely disappearing in but a few breaths. My heart is heaven, the world is a furnace. With this sacrifice of my blood, then shall it turn into demonic flame. Even as his voice had yet to dissipate, Tang Xiu's figure had appeared outside the demons and immortals slaughtering array. He coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood before his body fell and loudly hit the ground.